great, especially in the front row. I want to welcome you to our symphonic first concert and a theme concert that's going to be exploring the symphony. You just heard the wonderful wedding march music from Peer Gynt by Edvard Grieg. And we're going to start going into other things. Before we do that, though, I want to start by telling you this very short but incredible story. The LA Youth Orchestra now has been existing since year 2000. And so graduates of this orchestra are literally all over the world. I know this because when we toured in Italy this summer, I got a Facebook notification from someone who happened to be there, and we had dinner that night. So the alums reach very far, and they are in all... They go into all walks of life. They become incredible professional musicians, they become scientists, they become teachers, become businessmen. And I know they bring this love of music because when I held my first alum party for them this summer, the people that came, they all got into this contest. Because one would say, oh, well, when I was in LA Youth Orchestra, we played Beethoven second. The other one goes, oh, that's nothing. We did Brahms second, way harder. So they got into this competition, even though neither of those people were still playing the instruments anymore, because they got into they remembered that. And that really, can't tell you how much that meant to me. Just a few months ago, there was this, as you know, this horrific mass tragedy shooting in Las Vegas. And I found on Facebook that one of our graduates was involved in that shooting. And thankfully, she survived, although she was very seriously shot. And I always remembered the student because she was not only, she was just so excited about being in the orchestra, but she was also with us at our Carnegie Hall debut, which was a very important moment for the orchestra. And so I got in contact with her and her mother, and I got to hear the story of incredible bravery and courage on her part. And so she's here with us tonight. And I'd like you to give a warm applause. Naya, we love having you back here, and I want to let you know that Naya has just started her career after graduating college, and she's now a teacher, a science teacher. We are so proud of you and so happy you were able to make it here today. So the next piece you're going to hear is part of this theme. It is a remarkable piece for orchestra. There's not too many pieces like this that are variations on a theme for orchestra. Very common to have variations for piano or violin, but for an orchestra to play variations, there's not a lot of these pieces. And this was by Johannes Brahms. This was a very important work for him. A friend of his showed him this tune attributed to Haydn, and it was a piece, I think it was scored for wind band. And Brahms was fascinated by it because it's a very irregular theme. It sounds very normal, but if you actually count out the bars, you'll realize instead of, like most pieces, almost every piece of music divides 4 and 4. This one goes 5 and 5. So that quirkiness was something he really liked. And he created this beautiful set of variations. And it's important to know that Brahms, I'll talk about this more in the second half, Brahms had a tremendous phobia, let's say, about writing a symphony, because he knew he was going to be compared to Beethoven, and no one can win that kind of comparison. And so this piece was his way of sneaking under the wire. This piece was so successful after this, it gave him the confidence to compose his first symphony, which we're going to be playing in the second half. Now we have a wonderful treat for you because we have an incredible conducting intern who's going to be conducting this piece. And his name is Adam Carolyn. And Adam is remarkable in many ways because he's a very fine trombonist, and you're going to hear him playing in the trombone solos in the Brahms Symphony. But he's also an extremely accomplished composer, and he's in the Los Angeles Philharmonic Composer Fellowship Program, which is a very elite group of young people that study with some of the finest composers in the world. And so he'll be composing pieces in he's composing pieces in that collective as well. And then on top of that, a conductor. And this is someone who, unlike most of my conducting interns who are usually graduate students, this is someone who is still a high school student. So would you please give a super warm welcome to Adam Carroll. both fun and also educational in terms of your listening. I'm going to walk you through a special tool I created to help people hear and follow Beethoven's symphonies. And what I'm hoping is not only will it help you to follow this Beethoven symphony movement that the concert orchestra is going to play, but then in the second half, I think it will also help give you some chops for the Brahms. So this is my way of a little audience, not so much participation, but audience engagement. I think you'll enjoy this. So we could have just a little bit of lights on for the audience. If you look at your program, I think it's in the back of your program. I've given everyone a copy of a piece of paper with these funny little boxes on it. This is fun. Okay. If we were more high-tech, I'd have this on a screen with a bouncing ball. So we're gonna, but I kind of like low-tech. As a composer, I still write with pencil and paper. So you're gonna have a piece of paper in your hand. And I'm very proud of this piece of paper because on this one sheet of paper, I've represented the entire first movement of Beethoven's First Symphony. And without using printed music, the actual score is many tens of pages, and the parts are also many pages. This is all on one page. And what I've done is it's kind of part map and part comic book. What I've done is it's a series of boxes that go from left to right, and then you go down to the next row. And you don't need to know much about music to follow it. All you need to do is be able to see that there are three types of information. On the very top, in black and gray, is the structure of the piece. So you'll see the very left-hand side, the top. The first thing you're going to hear is an introduction. And it's marked adagio. Well, if you study music, one way or another, you're going to be learning some Italian. That's just the way it goes. So adagio means slow. Then you're going to see the next one is over here's an exposition. And that is the first, after the introduction, that's the first part of the piece. And then in the next line, do you see where it says development? And under that, recapitulation, and then coda. So those are the major structural parts of what you hear in a symphonic movement. Introduction, and then the exposition, which exposes the music, the development, which develops the music, and the recapitulation. Instead of saying repeat, it's recapitulation because you bring back the music, but it's changed. It's not the same as it was at the beginning because of the life experience it had in the development section. And the life experience in the development section causes it to change the way the old music plays. You hear the same tunes, but everything's a little different. And one of the big differences is all of the harmonies in the home key. But that's part of a different talk. Now, underneath, you see sort of a series of boxes, right? Underneath the boxes, you'll see funny letters and hairpins. You see that? Now, this is very important because this wouldn't work for rock music, but for classical music, if you get lost, one of the things that helps to know is when things are loud or soft. Because how many of you play classical music in your car? Have you ever had that experience where you're hearing, let's say, a Mahler symphony, it doesn't seem like there's anything playing, and suddenly you hear the whole brass section and the percussion come in and you get an accent? Have you all had that experience? I almost have. So that's the reason, because classical music is one of the things we work on with the students here is to play loud and soft. Loud is good, but it's really good when you can have different levels. So in music, we use the word F